आज ही डाउटनेट ऐप डाउनलोड करें। डाउटनेट पर होगा अब आपके सभी मैथ्स, केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स और बायोलॉजी डाउट्स का सफाया। बस अपने क्वेश्चन की फोटो खींचो, उसे क्रॉप करो और तुरंत वीडियो सोल्यूशन पाओ। डाउनलोड नाउ।
Hello students, so our question is explain the events in normal women during her menstrual cycle on the following days. And here the A is the pituitary hormone levels from 8 to 12 days, uterine events from 13 to 15 days, and ovarian events from 16 to 23 days. So here we are going to answer all these one by one. And the specific thing about this whole question is that we are talking about the menstrual cycle. And in menstrual cycle, we have these two most important hormones, that is FSH and LH. And we also going to understand the role of two also important hormones, that is progesterone, and estrogen. So in the first question, we need to answer the pituitary hormone levels. Pituitary hormone levels from 8 to 12 days. From 8 to 12 days. So here we need to understand something about menstrual cycle. This menstrual cycle is basically normally we can say is of 28 days in most of the women, in which the first 14 days and the next 14 days are showing the different phases. The first 14 days are called follicular phases. These are follicular phase, and the next 14 days are called ovulatory phase. In follicular phase, there is the development of egg in the ovary, and in ovulatory phase, there is the egg will comes out from the ovary. So in 8 to 12 days, as we can see here, there is this development of ovary. So normally the FSH and LH levels are low. FSH and LH levels are low because these both hormones comes from the pituitary gland. So when there is this ovulatory phase occurs, then the FSH and LH levels are high. Now coming to the second option, the second part of the question, which is uterine events. Uterine events from 13 to 15 days. So here, this is like the part where the ovulatory phase just started. So here the ovum is comes out from the ovary. Ovum comes out from the ovary and gets ready for the fertilization. And because the body is now being ready for the fertilization, so there are certain changes in the uterus. And these changes is basically the endometrium in the uterus gets highly vascularized, gets highly vascularized in order to get ready to bind with the sperm and get ready for the implantation and the formation of like structures that are necessary for the development of the zygote, embryo, and fetus. So it becomes highly vascularized, and the proliferative phases of uterine lining begin. That means there will be these multiple layers that are needed to be formed in the uterus will also start to begin. Also, there is this changes in the fallopian tube which will lead to the we can say certain reactions that will help to bind the sperm with ovum. Like all these fertilization process, this whole thing occurs during this uterine events. So these are the uterine changes in 13 to 12 days. And then the last is the ovarian events. Ovarian events from 16 to 23 days. So as I said, like after 48 days, there is this ovulatory phase, and the egg will remain in the fallopian tube for the fertilization. And when the egg will come out from the ovary, there is this layer that is left, and that is called corpus luteum. And this corpus luteum is basically degenerate by this hormone that is called progesterone. Progesterone also helps in the uterine events. Like when we talk about the uterine events, we need to remember that there is this estrogen and progesterone. They both help in the uterine events, as well as this corpus luteum will get degenerated by the progesterone. Also, as we know, there is this degeneration of corpus luteum, so there is this secretion of progesterone occurs. Also, we can say the formation of corpus luteum will also occur. The formation of corpus luteum. This is the remaining part of the ovum that will left inside the ovary. So these are the changes that is present in all these days. Thank you.
क्लास 6 से 12 से लेके नीट, IIT, जेई मेंस और एडवांस के लेवल तक 10 मिलियन से ज्यादा स्टूडेंट्स का भरोसा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें डाउटनेट ऐप या व्हाट्सएप कीजिए अपने डाउट्स 8400 400 400 पर।